I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. A promise.
YOLO, it's Yeshio, welcome back. Did you miss me? I've been working on a pretty huge project that I'm stoked to show you guys, and it's so intense I've been putting off making any new videos until I'm finally finished with it. Then I saw the Uncharted movie on opening day, and I walked away from the theater with just so many thoughts going through my head, I just had to talk about it to someone. And I don't have any friends, so I'm ranting to you guys instead. Oh, and in case you're wondering, number one, there's not gonna be any spoilers in this video, so if you're planning on seeing it yourself, you can rest easy. And two, I obviously don't have access to the movie footage yet, so I'm just gonna have to use gameplay here. So let's just cut right into the cake, shall we? Is this movie good or not? Well, it's just like I predicted a few months ago, the movie is okay. That's it. Pretty much everything I said in that other video was completely accurate. It's a decent action movie about Tom Holland doing cool stuff with Mark Walmart. The only problem is that they tried to clickbait me into watching it by telling me that it's based on the Uncharted series, even though it barely is. And that's not cool. They ripped all these scenes from Uncharted 3 and 4, like the airplane scene with the auction heist, but they mutilated the motivations of the characters so badly that it just feels wrong. It's like watching a movie about the Justice League, but none of them have any powers and they're all wearing each other's costumes. It's really jarring to see people address each other by names I recognize when they don't look or act anything like the characters they're named after. And it's pretty obvious they only put half these iconic scenes in the movie so they could feature them in the trailer and boost ticket sales. You know how in the second trailer, Sully actually had a mustache? Yeah, that scene's not even in the actual movie, it's the post-credits scene. And it doesn't even hint at a sequel or anything, so it has no reason to be here. My theory is that after the first trailer drop, the studio saw how everyone reacted to Sully looking, you know, like this, and they panicked like, nuts, we gotta fix this, quick. Throw together a post-credit scene where he has a mustache so we can show it in the trailer and convince people he might have one the whole time. It's a trick. The opening scene is fine. It's a recreation of the orphanage scene in A Thief's End where Sam has to say goodbye to Nate before he runs away. And I will give this movie credit where it deserves and point out that as much as I like the game better, the movie thankfully doesn't have like 30 flashbacks and flash forwards to establish the characters like the original did. Look, Nathan Drake is on a boat. Now he's a kid. Now he's in jail. Now he's in the ocean. Now he's in jail again. The movie just says, this is Sam, this is Nathan, their parents are dead and they want to find the treasure of Ferdinand Magellan. Then they get caught breaking into a museum and Sam runs away to avoid going to jail. For what it's worth, it's a pretty great opening. It follows the story of Uncharted 4 as close as it could given that it's adapting the story from a video game, and it's pretty engaging actually. At this point I thought to myself, maybe the scriptwriter for this movie actually played the game a little. But then the next scene shows adult Nathan Drake working in New York City as a bartender, so I think he must have called it quits after the very first level. I'm not gonna talk too much about the plot, because if you've seen the trailer, you pretty much know it already. Sam is missing, Nate teams up with Sully to find him and the treasure, the generic bad guy is also in the movie, you get the picture. Eventually, Chloe Fraser also arrives on the scene, where she pickpockets some items from the other two, runs away for a while, then changes her mind immediately and teams up with them again. At this point, I started to notice two things about the characters in this film. One, they're all really good at pickpocketing, like supernaturally good. And two, they all really like betraying each other and then immediately teaming up again. There are many instances where just walking past another character and not laying a finger on them is enough to instantly teleport the contents of their pockets into the hands of someone else. Sometimes it's done really sneakily, and it's pretty cool watching these master thieves snatch each other's goods. And sometimes it's actually hilarious just how impossible these lifts would be. Apparently in this universe, you can literally steal stuff from people just by looking at them for a few seconds. It's like everyone in this movie is a Skyrim NPC. I'm only barely exaggerating here, by the way. You know how Sully and Nate are actually really good friends, and the majority of Uncharted 3 and a large chunk of Uncharted 4 are dedicated to just how much they care about each other?
Why are you here, Victor? Because somebody's got to keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, in this movie, Sully's kind of a huge jerk and doesn't trust or care about Nate even a little bit. Nate, Sully, and Chloe betray and backstab each other so often, it's really hard to get invested in any of their relationships, because you know that each of them is lying through their teeth the whole time, and can and will mess over the other two the second they get the chance. It's pretty sad to watch, actually. These people are supposed to be pretty close with one another, and now they're all at each other's throats. Sully still has no mustache, Nate still looks way too young, Nadine Ross is basically the exact same character, but she has a different name for some reason, and I know I said it before, but it bears repeating. Where is Elena? Did she die? Did she enter the witness protection program? Remember that awesome level in Uncharted 4 where you have to sneak into the black market auction house in an Italian mansion and cut the power so you can steal the precious relic? Well, in this movie, they just go to a regular auction house filled with law-abiding people in New York City. And instead of cutting the power, they just kind of cause a diversion and take it. You know how Rafe was a fantastic and sympathetic villain who really wanted the treasure so he could prove himself as an explorer and not entirely for financial gain?
I don't know if to give up. That's good. Don't hand it to me. I've had everything handed to me. I earned this. All of it.
Well, in this movie, Rafe is replaced with some old guy whose name I literally don't remember, and all he says the whole time is, "Father, please, do not give away all of your money." I honestly have no idea who he is or what his goals are at all. I don't even know what the problem is with the dad giving all the money away. That seems like a pretty nice thing to do. I know this was kind of a nitpicky and negative review, but in all honesty, the movie's not bad at all. It's just not really worthy of having the Uncharted name attached to it. I stand by what I said before. I don't think a single person working on this entire film has ever played an Uncharted game in their life. Honestly, I think calling it Uncharted hurts the movie in the long run by forcing the writers to shoehorn in these out-of-place references to the game series that don't really need to be there, instead of just making a really intense standalone action movie. As the Uncharted movie, I give this thing a 2 out of 5. But as Tom Holland and the Quest for Treasure, I'm bumping it up to 4 out of 5. Decent film. If you're a fan of Uncharted like myself, you're probably gonna be kinda disappointed with this whole thing. But if you've never touched the series at all, you might get a lot more out of this movie than I did, if only because you're not really gonna know what you're missing out on. But whatever you do, please, please do not let this movie convince you that Uncharted is pretty good. Uncharted 4 is the best video game story of all time. These characters are awesome. Even now I'm looking at this movie and how underwhelming it was and thinking, did that really just happen? Did I really just see an Uncharted movie that was this mediocre? They could have just adapted the plot directly from the game, and they would have had to spend almost no time on the script, and the movie would have been like 10 times better, but they chose to rewrite the story for basically no reason and cast Tom Holland as the lead because he's famous. This whole movie was just one giant cash grab, basically, and it annoys me. You know what? No, I changed my mind. Don't go watch this movie. Just go to the link in the description and watch all the cutscenes from Uncharted 4 on YouTube. Not only is it a better film, but it's free. That's all I have to say. Bye.